A ship drifting alone in the middle of the ocean, but there wasn't a single soul on board. As the story has it, food was still warm on the table, and the sails were slapping wildly in the wind. Whatever, or whoever, made this entire crew vanish from the ship left no clues. Just mysterious silence. On December 4th, 1872, through the mist, David Morehouse, the captain of De Gratia, spotted another vessel sailing, but, the view was unsettling. The ship's sails were flapping uncontrollably, and it basically looked like it didn't have a direction. After a closer look, his heart sank and chills ran through his spine. He knew this ship, and worse, he knew her captain. They had dinner together right before the ship set sail, just a couple of weeks ago. So the captain and the crew quickly decided to hail the other ship, but only the silence answered. They shouted again, but nothing. Only the sound of water splashing into timber echoed through the air. Without a second thought, David ordered his best man, Oliver DeVoe, to lead a boarding party. What they were about to find inside became one of the strangest mysteries of all time. The ship was empty. Not a single human was there. It looked like they basically just dropped everything and disappeared. Tobacco was untouched and money was still in the drawers. The captain's wife's sewing machine sat exactly where she'd left it. 10 people gone. And nobody at the time knew why. So, DeVoe's men searched the ship from top to bottom. There was some water on the bottom of the ship, but not enough to sink her. One water pump was started to be fixed, but was left taken apart, like someone just stopped. There were 6 months of food supplies, just left, untouched. There was also half-eaten food on the table that was still warm. That's a great detail too, but as it turned out, it was fake. The real story was strange enough without it. Last entry on the ship's log was 9 days ago, and according to it, the ship's coordinates were hundreds of miles away from the place Mary Celeste was found. It basically means that it was sailing through the ocean that old sailors called the White Road by itself. Only a few items were missing: the crew's papers, the captain's navigation tools, and the only lifeboat. This should stop you cold. There weren't pirates. They don't leave anything valuable behind. There wasn't mutiny, no blood, nor anything that would suggest that. 10 people just got into a small boat and chose to sail through the most dangerous ocean, leaving a big and safe ship behind. The captain doesn't do that, unless there was something on the ship that scared or terrified him more than the ocean itself. So, the crew towed the ship to Gibraltar. There, the British government put a man named Frederick Solly Flood in charge of the investigation. He was suspicious by nature, and he'd basically made up his mind before he even started looking. Mary Celeste was carrying industrial alcohol. His theory was that the crew broke into the cargo, got drunk, and killed Captain Briggs and his family for unknown reasons. Frederick searched the entire ship and found a red stain on the bed. As it later turned out, it was literally just rust. Like we found out before, there was no sign of that. Also, Briggs was a calm, religious man, not the one who would cause mutiny on his ship. So, the Solly Flood theory fell short. After that, people started to come up with theories of their own. A giant squid pulling 10 people into the ocean without a sound. Ghosts. Even the Bermuda Triangle, even though the ship was found nowhere near it. None of these explains the 2 facts that actually mattered. The ship was in perfect condition, and the lifeboat was gone. The real answer wasn't connected with a monster or anything mystical. That was something much more human. Something that scared 10 people so much that they, without a second thought, abandoned their comfortable big ship for a small and unstable lifeboat in the middle of an ocean. As it turned out, the real answer was hidden in the cargo itself. just like Frederick Solly Flood speculated, but the truth was completely different from what he thought. 9 of the 1,700 alcohol barrels were found empty during the inspection. Those barrels were likely made of cheaper and poorer quality wood. That means that those barrels leaked flammable fumes for days. Imagine this. The ship was in the middle of the sea, and fumes were filling the wooden room with nowhere to go. Briggs would have smelt it. He'd spent his whole life at sea. He knew exactly what that smell meant. His ship was basically a bomb. So he did what any intelligent captain would do. He ordered his crew to open all the windows and doors to let fumes out. A decision that, by unfortunate coincidence, turned out to be a disaster. Maybe static electricity. Maybe 2 metal barrel rings hitting each other in the dark. All it took was a single spark, and fumes ignited. What happened next was instant. A huge, blinding fireball came out of that cargo room. It happened so fast that no one understood what happened. All that Briggs saw was fire everywhere. His only thought was probably to grab his wife, daughter, and his crew and abandon the ship. So, that's what he probably did. But in reality, everything was completely different. Fumes burned out so fast that not even a paper that was near the barrels caught fire. This is where the story stops being a mystery and starts being something much sadder. Briggs probably never meant to leave his ship for good. When Mary Celeste was found, there was a rope attached to it. Briggs basically got everyone into that tiny lifeboat to guarantee everyone's safety and waited to see if a second, bigger explosion would happen. That's why everything was left in the ship: documents, food, water, and even money. The plan was to eventually come back to the ship, but as everyone knows well, the ocean doesn't care about plans. A sudden storm, one strong gust of wind, and the rope, the only thing connecting 10 people to safety, snapped. 10 people in a small open boat, watching their only ship drift away, faster than they could ever row after it. They were never seen again. No bodies, no lifeboat, just nothing. Mary Celeste kept sailing alone by herself for another 12 years. She had many owners after that, each one a little more afraid of her than the last. In 1884, her final captain decided to deliberately crash her into the reef near Haiti and claim the money from the insurance company. But even that plan failed. The ship was unwilling to go quietly. You know, Old Norse legends say 3 sisters decided every person's fate before they were even born, and that no one could escape it. We'll never know what happened on that day when Mary Celeste was abandoned, but maybe the fate of that 10-person crew was decided even before the ship left the shore. And that small bit of doubt is exactly why, over 150 years later, this is still the most famous ghost ship in history. So, if you enjoy listening to strange stories that happened throughout history, please consider subscribing. Thank you for watching.